All right. Hello, traders. Mark P. Markets here. My name is Mark Principato. I'm a chartered market technician. Thank you for joining me all. I am simulcasting today, so sorry it took me a little longer to get this thing started. You know, this technology and how it goes. Anyway, so again, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend a few minutes on Bitcoin because that's pretty much the analysis I want to show. And then the rest of the time, I'm going to answer questions because I usually get a lot of questions from both groups here. And I want to make sure I can answer everyone's questions as much as I possibly can. All right, so with that, let's get started. This is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult the licensed investment advisor. All right, and here's my Bitcoin chart. Let me get myself on the chart here real quick. All right, there we are. Hey, everyone. Okay, cool. So thank you all for joining me. Let's first, before we get into the analysis portion, because again, I want to be very quick with the Bitcoin stuff so I can spend more time on your questions. I want to talk about the economic calendar real quick. I'm not going to show the calendar so I can be consistent with the house rules, but it's important to be aware of the economic events for each week, especially if you're involved in Forex or in stocks and stuff like that, okay? So TradingView obviously has their own economic calendar, but there's another one I like to use, which is really straight and to the point. So let's take a look at what we got on 4/5, which is today. We had ISM services PMI, not a big number. Now the market's ridiculously strong today, but has nothing to do with that number. On 4/6, which is tomorrow, Australia, Royal Bank of Australia rate statement. So that's their interest rates, and then they have their interest rate decision. Again, that's at 12:30 a.m. Eastern time. Okay. Then we have on the 7th FOMC minutes. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's on Wednesday. Now the minutes are, unless there are any surprises hidden in that, it's usually not a big deal. But sometimes the market will act stupid and it'll wait for that number to come out. I don't know why. It's irrational. Hey, that's the market. Now on the 8th at 12 p.m. All right, that's Thursday. We have Fed Chair Powell's speech. So the market can get sluggish going into that because, again, if there are any surprises, something that the market had not factored in, you could get a dramatic move. So the idea is to be careful. Just be aware that the person is speaking and be prepared for a surprise. Usually there are no surprises and the market doesn't do anything dramatic, but just in case, you need to be aware. Okay, on the 8th, we have China Consumer Price Index. I wouldn't worry about that. And then on the 9th, we have Canadian net change employment and the unemployment rate. That's important if you're like in a Canadian pair. That's at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So that's not usually a big market mover. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. So it's not a very heavy news week besides the FOMC, besides the Fed Chair Powell's speech. That's the only thing I'd really keep an eye on. Other than that, you know, things are pretty easy going here, it seems. All right, so again, if you're new to my stream, put the symbol that you'd like to see in the chat, whether it's a coin. If it's an altcoin, just put USD or USDT after it so I don't go on the wrong symbol. And other than that, let's get to Bitcoin. All right, so, and let me say hello to everyone in the chats. Hold on a second. You know, I like to do that. I got a lot of people here. Shay Shank, good to see you. Anna, nice to see you too. I know, Anna, it's been a little boring, but you know what? Markets are not supposed to be exciting, to be honest with you. If you're getting excitement out of it, that could lead to gambling. They should be uneventful and just very regular, you know. Happy, good to see you. DJ, hey, DJ and Kamal, good to see you all. All right, cool. And then we have Visetti. Hey, Visetti, hola, nice to see you. All right, cool. So let's get this thing going here with Bitcoin. Let's talk about this Bitcoin situation. Now, for those that read my TradingView analysis yesterday, I talked about that basically there was just not worth anything doing here, right? The title was, it's just not worth it. I don't know if that's the most exciting title in the world, but here's the point. Bitcoin is in a resistance zone. Here, let me just highlight that zone again. You know it's this zone right here. It's been on my chart for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it doesn't want to sell off. We had a red candle, but it doesn't go anywhere. No follow through. What does that mean? Well, that could be interpreted as a sign of strength because something that is heavy with selling activity doesn't hesitate like this at a resistance level. It usually follows through. That's what momentum is all about. There's no momentum here. Not only that, but we had a green candle close yesterday, and we took out the high of that candle today, which is another buy signal. So we didn't send that out. I'm not sending that out because I don't buy into resistance zones. That's just part of the rules that I follow. Some people are impatient. They want to buy into that. If you're taking a day trade and you want to work with that on a smaller time frame, okay. But for a swing trade, this is very risky. Okay, now, we have a higher low that was established right here at, what is this, 56,466, that area right there, which again, you can use that as a reference to define your risk on the smaller time frame. If it takes that out, you should be out of it, okay? But again, for a swing trade, can I send that out? Well, that would be a very aggressive swing trade because I don't like this level. What if it pops up a bit, right, gets us all in, and then starts to pull back again? Do I want to take 8,000 points of risk or 10,000 points? I don't. And that's where the support is. It's over here. So until the market gives me a level that's attractive, where the reward risk is attractive for my strategy, I do nothing. I have no problem doing nothing. Doing nothing is actually a good thing to do a lot of times. It saves you money. Okay, and think about this, because I was thinking about this. We have a lot of people asking questions, wondering why we're not sending out trades. And think about this for a moment. If you took 3 trades, right? 3 trades, 3 long signals, and all 3 of them stopped out. I mean, and then when the 4th one comes along, you're like, I'm not gonna take that one because this market sucks. I'm just gonna avoid it. And that one breaks out, of course, right? But you didn't take that one. So you have 3 stop outs, 3 losses, and you have this one that you missed. Now, if you had just not put on any trades at all, you would have lost nothing, right? And emotionally, your confidence would still be intact, and most likely you could have had, you have the ability to now take the next opportunity with the same level of confidence. People discount confidence. They don't realize how important it is. So anyway, that's why if the market runs without you, what do you lose? Nothing. Okay, yeah, now some people have emotional baggage and they say, well, I'm missing out. But you don't lose anything. Your account is still intact and your confidence should still be intact when you don't lose anything. So the market could run away all at once. The market can go to 55,000, whatever, 65,000, 80,000, 100,000. If I'm not in it, I don't lose. I don't win, but I don't lose, right? And the only thing we can control in this game are losses, not wins. So that's what you have to have the mental, I should say, structure. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but that's the perspective that you need to have in these situations. Okay, so Bitcoin, while there is strength, and this is bad for shorts if you're short, I expect this thing to fool around until it doesn't, right? And what do we need to confirm the breakout? Well, it needs to give us a decisive close above this area. Above that area means taking out 61K, basically going to 62K, and then closing there decisively. We have this whole area where we can fail, between 58K and basically 62K. We can fail. And a lot of people are going to get sucked in, and if the thing fails, some of them, they're going to go into hope mode, and they go, well, it'll come back. And there's going to be at one time when it doesn't come back. So I don't want to get caught in that. It's just not worth the risk. I wait for support, and that's what we're going to have to wait for. All right. Again, this is for the swing trade perspective, not day trades. Day trades are a completely different thing, and I'm not talking about that here. But this environment is actually more appropriate for day trades, believe it or not, because the reason for that is you can get out quickly, you can take smaller losses, you can also use smaller time frame structures, but at the same time, you also have to use smaller profit targets or tighter profit targets, because otherwise you can get caught in that fake out and you're exposing yourself to larger time frame risk. Can't mix the two. Okay, so it's either a swing trade or a day trade. Can't be both. All right, so that's what I want to say about Bitcoin. There's a lot of other stuff going on here, but I don't want to spend 30,000 minutes on it like I usually do. And then when it comes time to answering questions, I can't answer everyone's question. So let's go right into your questions right now. Let's start with, actually, in someone I had asked earlier, and I promised him I'd answer the question, Lena, L-A-N-A, USDT, Lena, let's take a look, L-A-N-A, USDT. Can I get that in here? Let's see, Lena, I think that was the symbol, maybe not, let me see. I thought it was Lena. Maybe I have the wrong, maybe it's Lena? Oh, that's it, Lena. Okay, got my name wrong there. So his question is, you know, what's the deal with the price action here? This, I don't like this chart. I could tell you right now, there's not much price history there. Let me see if I could find a better chart here. Is that the Binance chart? Yeah, it looks like that's the Binance chart. How about against, there's looks like there's futures, there's a perpetual futures contract. It's all Binance. All right, fine. So I'm gonna have to look at the Binance chart. For one, I don't know what this long tail is here. If that's a bad tick up at a dollar or if that's real. So I'm gonna ignore that. Okay. First of all. Second of all, let's zoom in here and let's look at this price action a bit. And so when you see a situation like this, we don't have much price history. So all I can go by is we have a higher low right there at, what is that? Basically just over 11 cents, around there, right? Which means it wants to hold. And then you have this higher low right here, which is what, just around 12 cents. So what it looks to me like, there's no trend here, right? Just because we have a couple of higher lows doesn't really mean anything. We need to take out highs. So the high is 15 cents. That's the first thing it needs to do to argue that the trend is bullish. Because again, I'm not going by that initial candle because I don't know what the deal is with that. Okay, I don't know how real that is or how fake that is or if it's a bad tick or whatever it is. I need to see more structure. So yeah, you do have higher lows, and if you want to measure risk from the lowest part there, like maybe 11 cents, maybe 10 cents, and you want to consider this thing for a longer term type of trade, or maybe even a swing trade, you can take your risk now, right? Because you do have some higher lows in place. But if this thing goes below that 10-cent area, then you should probably take the loss, right? Because it shouldn't do that if it's going to stay strong. What this thing should do is take out the higher high, and that's a much better sign that it's going to start, you know, developing into a broader bullish trend. I don't know, again, I don't know what the story is with this. If you're fundamentally informed, maybe you know what the deal is on the fundamental side of things and you believe in it, whatever it is that they're doing, okay, cool. That can play a hand in it. But chart structure, I would like to see more before I would take a risk on that. Or since you could treat this like a penny stock, which, you know, is how I think of a lot of these things, this is one of those situations where you could just throw some money in and hope for the best, right? It's a gamble. You throw in $100, and if you can get 10 times that, hey, that's your win. You can't sit there and let greed get in the way and say, oh, if I had just put in $10,000, I could have made $100,000. You can't think that way, because most of these, while everyone thinks that this is like the new way to make money, they're going to find out the hard way when the money comes out of these things. And the person that asked for this, he knows what I'm talking about. He has that experience. Okay, so anyway, so that was Lena, L-I-N-A. All right, let's see what else we got here. Shay Shank, XRP. So he asked about it from 43 cents, and he's still in it long, and he still thinks that it can go higher. Let's take a look. XRP USD. And I see some people in the TradingView chat. Sure, I'm going to get to it. Wow. I mean, this thing is starting to perk up here. That's nice, Shay Shank. I mean, I'm glad you're still in it. I've always been a hater of XRP, you guys know. I mean, even Shay Shank would joke around and call it the garbage coin. But, I mean, look, that's definitely a structural improvement. I can't argue with that. I mean, it's vertical. So at this point, if you're in it, there's no reason to sell. Hopefully you've locked in some profit. It doesn't hurt to lock in a portion when things go vertical. Because again, when things go like this, that's when the herd is piling in. Maybe some news came out on it or something. I don't know. I don't follow this coin very closely. But this is your opportunity to distribute some of your risk onto the people that are buying it now, because this is a bad place to be taking on a new position. All right, so great place if you're in. You took the risk, it worked out. I would say lock something in, okay? Now, besides that, though, there's no sell signal. So this is a situation where you have to let it run until a sell signal develops. I mean, that would be the effective thing to do. So a sell signal can develop until you may see a bearish pin bar develop or some kind of inside bar, and then it takes out the low. At that point, that would be a sign to probably reduce more of your exposure, or maybe get out of the entire position if you're so inclined to do that. But right now, this is not a place to buy. This is a place to reduce risk or lock in profit. Now, as far as support and resistance levels go, your support on this thing right now is going to be in this zone right here, which is around the 64-cent area. Okay, so Shay Shank says he's in from like 43 cents. So that's a nice doubling of your money right there. so if this thing pulls back and you want to get back into some more, it would be in that 60 cent, 50 cent, mid 50 cent area. Now zooming out a bit, I want to see what kind of other historical price action exists, because that can give me some clues as to where other people will likely jump in and sell. So you're at this selling point right here, which goes back, you know, a year or whatever. The next one you have is around here. So let's see, what price is that? What is that, 90, can't even see it, 92 cents, something like that. So right now you're fooling around 87 cents. If this thing starts pushing those low 90s, that would probably be another good area to reduce more risk. So at least you have some sort of inflection point that you can anticipate where more selling activity is likely to show up. And the reason for that is the market has a memory. People are stuck from that position, right? That bought a long time ago, and they'll be happy to get out for break even. We see this phenomenon all the time. So that's a likely place where more selling may appear, and that would be a good place to reduce more risk, okay? Definitely not a place to be buying. So thanks for bringing that one up. Okay, cool. Let me jump over to the other chat here. And again, let me say hello. So we have Visetti, I said hello. Kasa, I'm sorry. I have a hard time. I think I need glasses. Clue, good to see you. Clue Foley. No, Do Wolfoley. Okay, cool. And we have Crypto Research Expert. Okay, cool. All right, hey people, nice. Thank you for joining me. So I have some questions in here. Let me see what I have. XLM USD, Stellar Lumens, XLM USDT. Now, oh nice. Well, this thing is starting to pop a bit. This one, again, has been really uneventful for a while. And these are, I've never been a big fan of a lot of these coins, they're just starting to perk up now. Okay, nice, it's about time. So if you're not in this, this is not the time to be buying it. This is the time. Now, if you're in this from a lower price and you took all the pain and you sat through all this noise and nonsense, now this is your time to be watching. If you're in from a good price, like with the other coin, like XRP, when you see things, when you get a large vertical candle on your daily time frame, not a bad time to reduce some risk. But that's it. You don't have to get out of the entire position. This doesn't have to be all or nothing, right? So inflection points for XLM, you're looking at 53 cents, which it's basically coming off of right now. You then have you have the peak, which is over here, the recent peak at 60 cents. So I'd be looking for a test of that, you know, as long as this momentum can continue. There's no sell signal in this thing right now. So I think 60 cents is realistic over the next few days. Now I'm looking back to see what kind of historical price action. There's not much on this chart, and I'm not going to bother changing the chart. These things, if they keep pushing, if this thing breaks through that 60-cent resistance, again, you want to take that as an opportunity to distribute some more, okay? Reduce your risk as this thing starts to push. Because as you see, at some point when it peaks, as you can see here, when it peaks, then you're going to have to deal with a lot of garbage for a while, right? I mean, look, what was this? That 60-cent peak was back in February. We're in April now, right? And basically it gyrated or consolidated until now. So you have to sit in that thing for a few months. It's just not, there's so many better opportunities out there. Why would you waste your time? You could put your money into stocks or other things that are performing better. So just something to keep in mind with something like this. Overall structure is bearish. Overall structure is bullish, I meant to say. And you do have this higher low consolidation, which means a higher high is within reason. So I'd give it that chance. I mean, if you took all the pain up to now, you might as well give it a chance. Okay, so that's what I have to say about XLM, which is Stellar Lumens. Thanks for asking about that. Wabi. Yeah, so Wabi, this is another one. This was one way back, way back, right? Actually, I had a bunch of this, and I got out of it because it was just underperforming. I got out of it near a high, okay? But of course, that was like over here somewhere. Of course, I missed the biggest move that there was in this piece of garbage coin. This thing, I think, got really hot because of all the NFT stuff. Wabi specializes in authenticity type of stuff, right? Making sure that something is authentic or whatever, using the blockchain for that. And obviously that's a big thing with the NFT space. So I'm guessing That's what that's what this is all about. Now, in this situation, I wouldn't touch this thing now, right? You're in consolidation mode. Let this thing consolidate a bit. In this situation, if you want to buy these, again, these are not the best candidates for swing trades. These are, you have to plan on holding them for a while. So if you're going to do that, I would look for attractive levels at least. And the first attractive level on Wabi is, or it's actually called TenYear or whatever, but its original name was Wabi. And the symbol is still Wabi. 52 cents is where you want to be looking for this thing as far as accumulating some, right, as this thing consolidates. Now, do I think this thing is going to just continue this bullish trend and keep going? I'm very skeptical of this space, okay, of the whole altcoin space. There's been too much hype and too much froth. And when that gets out of control, it goes to a point, everyone gets caught, and we know what happens, right? Just like the cannabis space, just like the electrical vehicle space, and all that other stuff, right? So I would be most interested in these things when they're being hated again, all right? Not when they're being loved and when there's a lot of interest in them and there's a lot of optimism in them. I'd rather see them be hated and people getting out of them. That's when you get the best prices, but it requires a lot of patience. So in these situations, again, if you want to play something like this, at least wait for a better price. And if you're going to do that, have some kind of plan where you're going to accumulate small portions. For example, maybe you buy $100 at 52 cents. You put $100 in. It goes to 40 cents. You buy another $100. But your max buy-in is going to be $500, right? So you only have 5 purchase points. And after that, that's it. You let this thing do its job. And if it goes to 0, well, you lose $500. So that's how you have to play with these things, all right? They're not high-quality stocks. They're highly speculative instruments. Please don't forget that. Okay, now if we were talking about something like Microsoft or Intel or some kind of high-quality stock, it's a different story. All right, let me get back to the other chat here. So again, thank you for asking that question. I want to try to spend as much time on your questions as possible. Okay, so let me see what else we got here. So Anna, talking about electric vehicle, she's asking about, what is this? Hold on, Solo? Is that Solo? Yeah, Solo and TUI. Okay, so let's take a look. Solo, S-O-L-O, electric vehicle. Now, here's a space. This is a nice example of a space that's gotten hated recently, right? We all know these things were really hot a few months back, right? I mean, look at this. Many of these electric vehicle stocks look something like this. They consolidated a bit. Everyone was hopeful, and then they all gave it back, right? Because of whatever. Negative news started coming out. I mean, if you look at Nikola, which is one I was following very closely, the thing got dumped on. There's a bunch of them, right? So this is what I'm talking about being hated or being out of favor, right? There's no clear-cut, nice uptrend here. So this is where opportunity lurks, all right? So the broader trend, we can still argue is bullish, right? There's no question that it's bullish. The recent momentum is not so bullish. We have a lower high right here. What is this price area here at 595? And it formed a double bottom. Now, this is where things get interesting. Now, is this thing starting to change? This is where, if the structure changes, this is where a nice swing trade opportunity can develop. Now, at the moment, as long as you're below this 595, it can be argued that the momentum is bearish. Not necessarily the trend, but the momentum. Those are two separate things. So I would be looking for these lows. Okay, well, thanks. I don't know what that was about. Little blank there from TradingView. I'd be looking at these lows at 4.5, basically 450 area. This thing right now is at 479, so you're not that far away from it. I'd be looking in that 450 area for another failed low. I would also like to see a bullish candle. All right, at least for a swing trade, I'd like to see like some kind of pin bar, some kind of bullish reversal, maybe an inside bar in this area. Then your risk can be well defined there, and I'd give it a chance at that time. Now, we have a potential lower high in this thing right now. If price makes the lower low decisively and pushes lower, I would stay away, step away. If you're looking to build a position for longer term, remember, these are highly speculative, not the best candidates for something like that, because they can really go back to ridiculously low prices, especially if the broader market starts to feel it, which it hasn't yet begun to do. All right, now these things aren't highly correlated to the S&P and all that stuff. I didn't get into that here, but they're not, you know, if there's a very sharp sell-off or a broad sell-off in the broader market, which we could see, it's always possible, these things are likely to feel some pain, right? And they're already in bad areas as far as potentially breaking supports. So that's Solo, S-O-L-O. Now she had another one here, TUI. Let's take a look, TUI. Let's get some TUI in here. All right, this is a travel. She says it's in the travel sector. All right, much different chart. All right, first of all, you could see the trend difference, right? Clearly, higher lows and higher highs. So you have strength right off the bat. Nice higher low there. You have a nice higher low over here, which is what price is this? 352. Is this in dollars? No, this is in, is that GBX? So I guess, is that in pounds? Okay, I think that's in pounds. All right, anyway, so you have this higher low at 349, this area here. That's a good sign. It's trying to push now, right? Trying to break this previous little minor peak at 385. So this is where things could be a little tricky. If you buy this now, you're taking a lot more risk than you probably should. This thing is, it could give you a failed breakout, like a failed range breakout there, and now you have to take more pain. The best price you could get is around that 349 area, 350 area. That's where your reward risk is the greatest, over in this area. So in this situation, I would just wait. But if you really must have a piece of it, then the way to compensate for that extra risk is by just taking a smaller position. So if you were normally going to buy 100 shares, maybe you buy 50 shares or 25 shares. And if you run into that scenario where it tests the low again, now you could put on that second half that you were going to buy anyway, if it gives you the right reversal signal. If it takes out the low instead, hey, you only have 50 shares or 30 shares, and you can bang it out for a small loss. That's how you have to look at something like this, okay? But if it never pulls back, at least you have a little piece, and then you could ride that to see if it goes at least for the next high. I do like the potential in this thing. I mean, the peak, the previous peak is 419. No, I'm sorry, it's higher than that. 471 is the previous peak. So you got plenty of potential. The reward risk makes sense. I mean, at this point, you're buying at, if you buy at 380 and the low is 349, so you're risking about, what, 30 points to try to make, you know, 60 points or maybe more. That's worthwhile. It's just, I think you could refine your risk even. I think you could get it for a better reward risk if you just wait. Okay, so that's how I feel about it. But this is generally, trend is bullish, right? Unless it takes out that support. And I would expect this thing, it's within reason to see this thing at least test somewhere near that high, which would take it into the low 400 area. Okay, so thank you for bringing that one up. Let me jump over to the other chat. All right, cool. So I got Wabi, BTT. Let's take a look. BTT. Now, what is that a stock or is that a coin? I'm going to guess it's a coin because people, oh yeah, it definitely has to be a coin. All right, so I'm going to go with BTT against the dollar. Correct me if I'm wrong though. Okay, there it is. Yeah, BitTorrent, USDT. Okay, here you go. So, yeah, this, man, where has this one been, right? I mean, a lot of other coins have done this recently. Like back in February, they were all doing this, right? So, many of you who follow me for a while, you know what I'm going to say about this. Herd mentality. Can't touch this right now. Can't go anywhere near this because you could be buying near the peak. Why would you do that, right? I'm sure there's a lot of hype on it and people are saying you're going to be the next millionaire on BTT. You know how that goes. But when I see this, I want to do the opposite. I want to stay away. I'm not going to short these, right? Because you're asking for trouble there as well. We don't short Bitcoin. We don't short these altcoins. We don't use leverage in this space. Now, so the next thing I would look for, because clearly there's strength here. If you want to get involved in something like this, you have to ask, where's the support? Well, based on what I see here, you're looking at this level way back here, which is what? 4004. So it's just basically around that 4.5 cent area, basically is what that is, right? That's one support. Your next support would be like somewhere around here. Now, why there? Because there's some strange price action. You have that indecisive doji. You have this thing right here, this doji, which is kind of hard to see. But a lot of times when you have that kind of stuff in there, it'll retest Because that's what is that doji anyway? What is that? That's a range. It's just it's a 1 day range. So if there's a range in there, then there's probably some price action that will act as support, right? People are likely to buy back into that in that area since there was a consolidation there previously. Consolidations can act as support or resistance levels. Even though this is one candle, it still serves the same purpose. It just may not carry as much weight as one that has been, a 50 candle consolidation, for example. But my point is, what price is this? The closing price is around just what, 0069, around there. That's what you're looking at, okay? If you want to get involved in something like this, no reason to buy these highs. Can it go higher? Sure. But the risk you're taking, at this point, you're gambling, right? It's like playing the slot machine. It may work out, it may not. And when that ineffective behavior gets reinforced over and over, it's very costly in the long run. I can tell you that from experience. Okay, so thank you for bringing this one up. Definitely a great one for the radar, BTT USD. All right, cool. So let me see what else we got here. Let's see a couple of questions on BTT. Okay, got it. SNDL. All right. Oh, no, wait, hold on. I missed one here. Ali. 1 USD. Okay. ONE. Let me get that in there. USD. Then I'll jump over to the other chat here. All right, so Harmony. Harmony against the dollar. All right, so here's the situation. And this is a nice example of how, the herd mentality eventually plays out. It runs, it runs, it runs. And if you buy these tops, because at the time it doesn't look like a top, you're running the risk of getting caught in something like this. Right, so this, I would say, is now consolidating those gains. But it's still early in the consolidation. You took out this low over here, which is 15 cents, right? Which basically signals to us that this thing is most likely in consolidation mode, because something that's in a trend, right, should produce higher lows and higher highs if it's a bullish trend, not take out lows. So it took out a low. That means it's a change of some kind. It's a momentum change. Now, what I would wait for in something like this, if you like the coin, first I would identify the support levels. All right, so let's do that. Where are the support levels? You have one over here. As you can see, many coins, right, are looking similar to this. And they all kind of have like the same pattern where they have that big run up. They start to consolidate. The supports are way lower. And we don't know if we're going to get back to those supports. But I can tell you this. If Bitcoin, which has not had a retrace yet, okay, it's been weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and we have not seen a major retrace. If one comes out of nowhere, which again, no one expects it, it's just some piece of news, maybe the stock market causes something, whatever it is, next thing you know, all of these things will likely get hammered, right, if Bitcoin does that. Remember, Bitcoin has not pulled back. That's just something you have to keep in mind. It is the leader. All right, so with that being said, I would wait. If you're interested, I would wait for support around 12 cents, okay? And if that's taken out, you're looking at, like, what is this over here, 10-cent area, something like that. Those are the most attractive areas where your reward risk is most favorable, okay? Now, what if it never pulls back there? What if you never get that opportunity? And also keep in mind, testing a support doesn't mean you just jump in and buy. It means now you prepare to buy because you need confirmation, right? And that can come in many forms. We often use candlesticks, but you may get a support sooner. So the other question you have to ask yourself is, how do you want to handle this? Do you want this to be a position trade where it's more like an investment? Or are you only looking for a short-term movement? If you're looking for a short-term movement, then you really have to wait for a level and a setup, okay? Like a swing trade, so your risk is very well defined. If you're looking for an investment, then you have to change your risk management style and have it revolve more around sizing, right? We talk about this all the time. So you would just start buying in this pullback, but small. The thing is, you have to know your target allotment or the amount of money that you want to invest. Let's just use $1,000 as an example. You say, okay, max investment, $1,000, but I'm not going to buy it all at one price. You split it up into 10 $100 purchases, and then you buy $100 worth right here. If it goes lower, you're going to buy another $100 worth. If it goes lower, you're going to buy another $100 worth. If it goes higher, you're going to buy another $100 worth, and you're going to average into it until you reach your $1,000 minimum or your $1,000 maximum, right? That will protect you in case this thing gets out of hand or goes unexpectedly lower faster, right? You're not fully invested, and you can handle the random nature of it in a better way, in a less emotional way, which is the goal. okay? You want to remove yourself from the equation as much as possible. Minimize emotions. We all have emotions. We can't just get rid of them, right? That's just not the way we're wired. But we have to learn to minimize them and use tools and techniques to minimize them so that we can benefit from the probabilities that are hidden by the market. You can't see them. So we have to basically guess where they are, right? And that's what we're doing when we're timing a market. We're kind of getting a loose gauge of probabilities, but we want to make sure at least that those probabilities are in our favor, not dramatically against us, which they are a lot of the time. It's just not obvious, okay? Anyway, so that's how I would handle something like this, 1 USD. Thank you for bringing it up. It's definitely trying to pull back. You know, you have that inside bar. I just think that, you know, this thing is messy. For a swing trade, if it takes out that inside bar high of 17 cents, that would be a buy signal. Again, a lot of these lower priced altcoins, they're very noisy and very messy. So that's why I'm not a big fan of swing trades for them. Okay, let me jump over to the other chat. Again, thank you for asking that question. All right, so, okay, Anna, no problem, I got that. Happy, altcoin market is, well, it depends, Happy. Some of them are, not all of them. And when it's obvious like that, I'd be careful. But let me see some of these. Let me see what question Happy has here. Can you please look at BTC? Okay, so what is? Let me see. Hold on. I'll pull that up here. That's one of those strange symbols here. This one against USDT. All right. So yeah, I wouldn't do anything with this. This is like a derivative of a derivative. You know, for one, it doesn't really mean anything. I don't get any value out of that. And it's not, I don't know, I wouldn't know what to do with that. There's nothing to do there. Okay, it's not going to give me any special sign about what Bitcoin could be doing. If I'm gonna get information about like Bitcoin or something, there's all these derivative products, right? Like you have the perpetual swaps and you have all these other things. They're not really that useful, okay? Unless you're trading them outright, they don't really provide any more value or advantage that you can just get straight from the Bitcoin against the dollar chart itself. Okay, so thanks for asking about that. Hey, DJ. Okay, let's see. SQQQ, yeah, had to get out of that. SQQQ was a options trade I actually had called a while back, and this is the result of it. It was a bet on the Nasdaq pulling back dramatically, and then while the Nasdaq tried, and you can see again, this is a derivative. It tried to do its thing. It just, when I saw this today, it's like, all right, you know what? Party's over. Got to get out of this thing. I can't use the SQQQ chart to make decisions. That's not where my decision came from. Okay, so the decision on that came from, if you look at the NSX, USD, which is a NASDAQ 100, that's where my decision came from. The buy signal, which I saw a few days earlier, right? I talked about the buy signal. I didn't like to see that, but I'm not going to react to information like that. I'm not going to get out of something where I'm trying to benefit from the short side, especially since we still had some time in it. I wasn't going to just blow it out just because I see that, because there was still plenty of opportunity for this thing to fail. Now, then this thing tested the resistance, right, which it should not have done, and now it blew through the resistance, and it's inside this reversal zone. And now look at what it's a few minutes before the close here, right? Before the market close. Look how this thing is closing. That is decisive. That is strong. No reason to be short or be in something that's going to capitalize on the short side when there's no sell signal. There's just nothing there. So I might as well minimize my loss, right, and take back whatever premium I can. So, you know, at the time I sent that signal out to get out, the thing was around 90 cents. I think we originally paid $2.25 or $2.50 for it, so it was like a $150 loss per contract or something like that, $160 loss. But hey, it's better than the thing going to zero, right? At least you're getting some of your money back. That's how I look at it. That's how you have to treat these highly speculative instruments like SQQQ or UVXY. If they don't do their job in the first month that you're in them, because again, I bought 3 months out. If the market's not doing what it should be doing or what our expected outcome is in the first month, get out, take the loss, because it's going to require the market to make such a dramatic move to make that money back that it's just not worth it. You're not going to make the money back, right? It's not like you're one-to-one with a stock. It's a derivative of a derivative, and it's just too much trouble. So just get out, because the probability is stacked dramatically against us in that instrument to begin with because of the time decay. All right, anyway, so thanks for asking. Okay, so let me see what else. Let me just jump across here. Hey, Kamal, I have BNP. All right, he's asking about BNB, so Binance Coin. BNB, USDT, and I'm going to get to the other chat here in a moment. All right, so like Binance Coin breaking out. This thing has been strong, right? And this is a nice breakout over here. Very nice if you're in it, okay? If you're not in it, I would not buy this at all because I don't buy highs. I don't buy these type of breakouts. But if you're in it, this is a great opportunity to reduce your risk, lock in some profits, and capitalize on all those buyers that just found this thing now, right? That's what you do in these situations. So the next thing, if you're not in it, the next question I ask is, well, where would I get into this? And by the way, Binance Coin is a good candidate for a swing trade because it's got the price range movement. I mean, this thing's up 25 points today, right? That's what I want to see. You know, when it comes to a swing trade, you know, a lot of these penny coins, they're, you know, what's going to go from 15 cents to like 16 cents. Okay, great. If you buy like $100,000 worth, right, sure, that's worth something. But that movement is just too much noise involved. So I like to see something like this, right? Anyway, so this is a much better candidate. The support would be the previous resistance area, which would be here, okay? So remember, it's not an exact price. It's usually an area, and that's around 315. And this thing right now is at 374. So this thing can pull back 50 or 60 points, and that's where I'd be interested in a potential swing trade idea if it could do something like that. Because right now, you're taking a lot of risk if you buy into this thing right now. Can it go further? Yes. That's why if you have some, you lock in some profit, and then you just let this thing run until a sell signal develops. Until then, and that sell signal, by the way, since this thing's making all-time highs, I believe, would be around 400, because that's your next whole number inflection point, right? This thing right now is at 374. It was as high as 380. So I'd be looking at that 400 area as another place to reduce a risk or take profit, okay? So that's how I would treat that one. Otherwise, wait for a pullback. No reason to chase these things. You're not missing out on anything. I mean, and look at this action back here, right? Try to run up. Imagine if you had bought it at that high, which is around 297, and over the next few weeks, you watch this thing go to 224, right? And how many people may have banged it out there? So, oh, this thing sucks. And my favorite guru said it was a short. I'm getting out. And only to watch it, you know, do this. So that's why you don't want to, at least I don't want to buy highs, because now emotionally now it gets me more vulnerable in these situations where I'm likely to bang out at a bad price because I bought at a bad price to begin with. All right, so that's how I would treat BNB. Thank you for bringing that one up. Let me see what else I got. Okay, XL, so Stellar Lumens, MF Beast or M Beast. I went over Stellar Lumens earlier. So you can, I know you can't rewind the TradingView chat. You can't go back, I understand. So when I complete this analysis, you can go back and watch. You can watch it. I covered XLM. All right, KL, can you check FET USDT? Sure, FET. All right, let's take a look. FET USDT. So similar situation to many of these coins, right? These big recent run-ups. Trend is bullish, no question there. Now, the next question is, where are my support levels? Because in a bullish trend, support levels are going to be where probability favors me the most. These are my support levels, right? So you have 52 cents is the lower one, and then you have one around here, around the 60 cent area, okay, around there. So, and we're fooling around right now at 68 cents. So what do you do in this situation? You had an attempt at a run-up the other day. I guess this is Sunday, the Sunday close. There's a buy signal there, and now it's sort of giving it back. So in this situation, first of all, you have to determine, are you looking for a swing trade out of this, or are you looking for an investment? If you're looking for a swing trade in this situation, you know, you have a buy signal that basically took place, very similar to Bitcoin. I would wait for another one, right? So meaning you don't buy this now, because let this red candle play out. If the red candle closes and the next candle takes out that low, that would be a new sell signal. So I wouldn't short it. It just means you're going back into the lower support area, and I'd be looking for another buy signal here in that area. Now, what if it doesn't do that? Well, then you're looking at this candle, the green candle, you're looking at the high, 74 cents. This thing takes out 74 cents, then it's the continuation buy, right? And I'd be looking for, in that move, I'd be looking for momentum to take it back up to the high, because in a bullish trend, higher lows often lead to higher highs, right? So 87 cents. So I'd be looking for that. If that thing fails somewhere between, buying it and then 87 cents, it fails in there, then you're in a consolidation. Then you have to figure out, how you want to either reduce that risk or whatever. But that's not a place you want to be putting on more and more if you're at a range high, okay? A lot of these things consolidate their gains before they go higher, like we saw Binance Coin, we saw a couple of other ones. I mean, look at this consolidation back here. So you may run into another one of these situations where it consolidates. Here, let me just highlight that right here, okay? Where it consolidates for a couple of weeks. Now, keep in mind, again, Bitcoin hasn't pulled back. So these things, there's a lot of froth, there's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of hype. I can't stress that enough. For when it comes to investing, I prefer, even with this FET, I don't know what they do, I guess Fetch AI, I would rather see an extreme support at like maybe 31 cents or something like that. And you say, wow, but that it'll never go back there. Well, in a dramatic situation or in an unexpected situation, it can. Remember, these are not high quality stocks. So anything is possible. Right now, everything looks beautiful. Everything looks amazing. Everything looks great. But a lot of this money is coming from, these stimulus checks? A lot of this money is coming from all this stimulus going on. What happens when the perception of that runs out? What if, for some reason, interest rates go higher, which it doesn't look like it's happening right now? That's why we're seeing the stock market rally. I mean, look at the US 10, right? This is the 10-year note, which has been, the 10-year note going lower means interest is rising. As you can see, interest has found a double bottom, it looks like, right? Because price on the 10-year note double bottomed. If this thing reverses its trend, which it has not done yet, and starts going higher, that means interest will be going lower, which is in line with the inflation scenario. Now, keep something in mind. I don't carry any long-term opinions because things change, okay? Things change. We don't know what Powell's going to say on Thursday or whenever he's speaking, and out of nowhere, some new thing comes out and everyone starts focusing in on the new thing. So I don't know. Now, it looks like we're going the inflation route. If that's the case, well, then I have to play the inflation game, meaning these things, these anti-inflationary assets should still find supports. But at some point, if those supports break and we start to see an anti-inflationary move, like whether it's interest rates going higher, whatever, if it's whatever it is, if we see something like that, you need to stay away from these things because they're going to get hammered. Okay, a lot of these coins that don't really offer anything of real true value, they're going to just go back to, ridiculously low prices. And that is when you want to start picking them up. Okay, like where we were a year ago. So you have to be patient. Those opportunities are very rare. Maybe you'll see them once or twice a year, maybe. All right, so we have to see how that plays out. So my point is, again, with these, I'm talking about this with FET. I'm giving you some levels to work with here, but if those levels break, you need to step aside and let this thing find its stability. Okay, I don't want you to think that these are like, oh yeah, these are easy investments because there's so much potential and it's the future, right? It's different this time. Don't get caught up in that collective groupthink nonsense. All right, so let me see what else we got here. Okay, so good question on FET. Thanks for asking. I see Dogecoin in the TradingView chat. I'm going to get to that here. Let me just jump over here to this other chat real quick. And by the way, if you like what I'm doing, please press the like button so I know that I'm getting good feedback. And also register for the channel if you haven't. Also on TradingView, whatever you have to do there, just let me know if you like what I'm doing, however you do that, because it gives me good feedback. Otherwise, if I see low numbers, then I'm less incentivized to do these things. Okay, so anyway, let's see what we got here. All right, so Litecoin. Savi wants to see Litecoin. All right, so let's go over Litecoin. So Litecoin's following Bitcoin. As we know, Bitcoin's trying to make its move, right? This is a nice, strong move from Litecoin, but Litecoin, just like, you know, how I'd expect it to be, it's basically inside of this consolidation still, okay? It's a consolidation. Now, these consolidations can be trend continuation patterns, and clearly the trend here is bullish. So I can't ignore that, right? If you're in Litecoin right now, there's nothing to do here but let the market do its job. Now, if you're not in Litecoin, should you buy here? Well, I would call this a very aggressive swing trade, all right? Kind of like where Bitcoin is. You're buying a breakout, this little minor breakout off of 217, okay? You can define your risk by this higher low that it put in this low 190 area. Right? So that means you're putting your stop somewhere there, somewhere lower than there. And you have to hope now that this thing continues, right? And continues with the breakout. That's the risk you're taking, right? If Bitcoin fails somewhere along the way, this thing is going to fail too. So that's how I would treat something like that. I call it very aggressive. Why? Because the ideal price to get into something like Litecoin would be around here, which is around 167. That area there, which coincides with the 53K or 50K support on Bitcoin. So that would be the higher probability, much lower risk area, and we're nowhere near that right now. So you can either wait for that if you're looking to get into a new position, or you could take that aggressive trade that I mentioned, okay? Or if you're in it from a great price, you know, nothing to do. Let the market do its job. If it starts to push the range resistance and gives you a sell signal, then I would distribute some, right? Reduce some risk. It may break out with no hesitation. And if you're in it, great. Let it do its job, okay? So thank you for bringing that one up. Let's jump over here to DOGE, Doggy or Dodgy. I don't even know how to pronounce that stupid coin. Okay, anyway, here it is. So this is a very big hype coin because of Elon Musk and all that stuff. Okay, fine, that's cool. Remember, the guy he's changing the world, but he's not out there to do us any favors. Okay, just something to keep in mind. And I have full respect for the guy and all that stuff, but he's a businessman. And he's looking out for himself, which is what he should be doing. And he's also advancing mankind. Very nice of him. All right, and he's making a lot of money while he's doing that. So, as far as the coin goes, you have this consolidation, which is a potential trend continuation pattern. Now, you're in the middle of the consolidation right here. I don't like middle of consolidations for trades. I don't like it for swing trades. If you're thinking about an investment, okay, fine, because you can take an investment pretty much at any price, but you have to compensate with smaller size. And only you can decide how much that is, okay? Because everyone's financial situation is going to be different. Now, as far as the middle of the range goes, anything can happen here. It's 50-50. It might go higher, it might go lower. The chart is not going to help me with that, and there's no advantage to buying it in the middle there, right? There's no probability in my favor. So I would wait, if you're interested in this coin for a smaller time frame trade, wait for the range low, which is around 5 cents, okay? Around that area here. Mid fives, high fives maybe, something like that. If it can hold the area and give you a buy signal in that area, that would make much more sense rather than buying the middle. Again, that's more short-term oriented. If you're thinking long-term and you think, you know, in a year that this thing is going to be a much higher price, again, you can buy at any price. Just compensate for the unattractive area with a smaller position. And then if it pulls back, now you can put on more. Okay, again, that's called dollar cost averaging. I'm sure most of you know that, but it's a very tricky process, and it's not a very good idea to do on low-grade instruments, okay? Because again, at some point, if the market has a serious pullback and money really starts coming out of these things, and you keep buying more and more and more, and then on top of it, you start using leverage, that's when you can wipe out your account, right? So then you'll hear people say, well, you know, you never should buy, you never should add to a losing position, blah, 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 right? That's when they come out with that stuff. But what is a losing position, right? So there's different factors to consider when you're dollar cost averaging. It's not just as simple as, I'm just going to keep doubling every time it goes lower and lower and lower. It's not that simple, okay? Maybe in card games like poker, it's simple like that or whatever. And when you're gambling, but this isn't gambling. So you can't treat it that way. It's a little more complex. Anyway, okay, so good question on that one. NEO, USDT, Sagor, wants to see. NEO, N-E-O, USDT. Now this one, you know, for a while, wow, look at this one. This one's starting to really do its thing now. You know, I took a look at this one so many times, and I hated this chart, okay? It just goes to show, the chart doesn't give you everything, right? Maybe it's benefiting from whatever, right? It's supposed to be an Ethereum competitor, whatever it is. Maybe there's some news on it, but for the longest time, this thing was not acting in line with Bitcoin. I didn't like it, okay? And now it's starting to do well. Okay, great. So what now? What do you do if you miss this? Just like the other coins. I would never buy this breakout. There's so much probability that this thing can fail here. And like I said, bad habits in easy markets or in these bullish markets when everyone's optimistic and blah, 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 a lot of bad habits are formed. Okay, and a bad habit could be buying a breakout and it works. And you're like, oh yeah, that's easy. Every time it breaks out, I'm just going to buy it. And then you're going to get caught. Okay, and when you get caught, that's when you're going to realize that it's not a good idea. Because when you get caught, usually you lose more than you made in the times that you won, and usually you give back a lot more. Okay, so I would wait for a pullback in this old previous range high area, which is $48. This would be a good candidate for a swing trade because of its movement. I mean, it's up $3 today, $3.50, whatever. Okay, fine. You know, I'd be just like a stock. I would deal with that. So wait for that pullback if you're not in it. If you're in it, great place to distribute risk. I love to see, if I'm in something, I love to see pushing highs like that because I can now unload some to people who don't know any better, right? And I'm reducing my risk. They're allowing me to distribute my risk. They're taking the risk off my hands, right? And that's what you want to capitalize on, that while the buying is there. You don't want to be banging this thing out when it's pushing lows, which is what the natural thing to do is. So if you're in some, reduce risk, and then let the thing ride because there's no sell signal here. Just let it do its job. If you're not in it, let it pull back. If it doesn't pull back, you know, again, you want to take a small bite and you'll be out of it. If the thing pulls back after you get in, you have to be nimble, right? And that's more of a day trade type mentality. Yeah, that really requires, you know, a lot of experience to be able to see that. Usually what people do is they just go into hope mode, and that can turn into a very large loss. It's just not worth it, okay? And there's so many better opportunities out there, coins that are in better positions or better locations rather than buying a breakout high, okay? Anyway, so thanks for bringing that one up. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, so that was Neo. Mr. Blue, you missed my question. Ask it again. Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry about that. How did I miss that question? You sound way greater than you write. Well, well, thanks for the feedback. Yeah, I mean, you know, when I don't know what to tell you. I know more of my personality comes out when I'm speaking than when I'm writing. ENJ, okay, and in NFT gaming, okay. ENJ, let's take a look. ENJ, USD. I appreciate the honesty. I could definitely use that. All right, ENJIN, Engine Coin. All right, look, nice recent, all this run-up, this February run-up, we see this on a lot of these, right? Obviously, it's NFT related, and we know all the hype going on in that space. Okay, fine. Now, you are in a consolidation right now. It had to pull back, right? And then it tried to come back a bit, pulled back again. Looks like it's starting to react similar to Bitcoin. Okay, fine. You have a higher low in place, just like Bitcoin. So, similar situation. If you're in it, let it break out, because that's theoretically higher low should lead to the higher high. Testing the low $3 area is within reason if it can follow through, if you get that follow through momentum. Okay, buying this now is aggressive. Because, yeah, you can measure your risk from $2.25, right around here. If it goes below that, you should be out, taking your loss if you buy it now, right? That's how you have to treat that. And there's a good chance that it will do that because that's not too far away, right? If this thing lacks the follow through. So that's why it's aggressive. The more conservative level to consider for a swing trade would be this area, just below this low, around $1.95, right? Or maybe the high 180s around there, failed low, because that's where you get people who give up on it. They're banging it out, and that's a great price to pick up some, while risk and reward is way in your favor at that point, okay? Because it's got a lot of potential, and you're buying something that's strong, and you're buying it into a dramatic low. at that point. Now, again, we don't know if we'll get that. So that would be the area where I'd be looking for something like that. Of course, it's nice if you can get some candlestick confirmation. Other than that, nothing to do here, right? So like I said, to recap that one, if you're in it, let it do its job, see if it breaks out. If you're not in it, you can take that aggressive idea, or you could wait for the more conservative idea. The trend is bullish, and I can't argue with that, okay? Like I said, when the money comes out of this entire space, what you're going to see is you're going to see all these supports get broken, right? Like this support here, for example, that's a pretty significant support. It'll get cleared, and you'll start to see all of these things start pulling back to some dramatic levels, and they'll all be doing it together most likely. So that's what you have to be careful of, okay? I don't really trust this space. Okay, so thanks for asking that question, and again, thank you for the feedback. I definitely like the blunt feedback. Okay, cool, amazing education. Hey, thanks. Okay, cool. All right, SXP against the euro. All right, what is that? SXP against the euro. Is that a coin? Yeah, it's a coin. All right, it's on Binance. So now this is not against the dollar, it's against the euro. Nice squeeze, right? Nice push there. If you're in it, again, I don't know if you're in it, but if you're in it, definitely should be reducing risk. How many times do I have to say that? I'll repeat that a million times. If this thing is vertical, reduce risk. Take something off the table. Even if it's 10% or 5% of your position, don't make the mistake of selling it all. There's no reason to sell it all. Just reduce risk, okay? Now, that's the first thing. And then wait for a sell signal to reduce your risk more. There's no sell signal there. I don't see a bearish pin bar. I don't see an inside bar. I don't see any lows getting taken out, okay? So there's no reason to sell. Now, as far as if you don't have any and you're looking for a new long, this is not the place to do it. The place to do that, the first place to consider it is around the 330 area, right around there. That's old resistance, right, which is likely to act as a new support, all right? If that level is cleared, because again, you need to see price confirmation before you don't just step in front of it. That's usually not a good idea, okay? You want to wait until it goes back inside the range. If that support is taken out, your next high probability area would be in the middle of the range. Now, I don't like mid-range stuff like I just explained before, but if it's coming off of a breakout and then it retests mid-range, that's a different story, okay? So that would be much more attractive if it can do something like that. Those are the only scenarios I'd consider for something like this. And if it takes out those supports, which is $2.35, takes that out, I would step aside until it can find stability. But nice chart. I mean, definitely a nice chart, nice breakout, obviously to new highs. Don't want to chase these things if you're not in them. Remember something, there's no missing out. There's going to be a lot of gurus out there. There's going to be a lot of videos on YouTube that say, the next 8 coins, they're going to make you a millionaire, but buy them now because you're going to miss out, right? And it's going to appeal to your fears and blah, blah, blah. Please don't get sucked into that stuff. Ignore it, all right? Because markets cycle, all right? And markets trend. And there's no such thing as a trend that goes in a straight line. There will be opportunities in the future. All right, now whether you recognize them or not is a different story, but there will always be more opportunities as long as there's a market. So just something to keep in mind there, okay? Because I see so much hype, and I'm like, man, people actually believe this stuff? But, you know, if you're new and you have no experience, well yeah, you believe it because you're looking at the chart. Well, the chart's doing what this guy just said. It's up 30% today, and he said it's going to go higher. It must mean he's right, so I'm going to buy it, right? So please don't get lured by that. This is the herd mentality we're dealing with. And one of the first things you need to learn if you want to be successful at this is how to separate yourself from the herd mentality. We all start out with it, okay? And you have to become aware of it, and then you have to separate yourself from it. And that's what a system, that's the objective of having rules or having a system to guide your trade decisions. That's what that's all about. All right, let me see what else we got here before I go on one of these educational rants. All right, so hold on. Let me jump back to my other chat. Hold on, man, I got so many questions. How am I doing on time here? Let me check. Okay, I'm starting to go over. So I'm going to do this for like another 10 minutes because I started a little bit behind, and then I'm going to wrap this up. So if I missed your question, I apologize. Please just share it in the chat again, see if I could try to get to it, or just come to my next stream. All right, so let me see what we got here. Back to my other chat. Man, I got so many. All right, so I went over Litecoin. We went over XRP. Yeah, XRP, USD, SDM, I went over that. If you just rewind the video, I went over that like near the beginning. Okay, because Shashank wanted to know that one. Luna, so DJ's asking, Luna, is it Luna? Luna USD. Okay, that was the question. Thank you, DJ. I looked up Lena, I looked up Lana, I missed Luna. All right, here we go, Luna. That was like an hour ago he shared that. Okay, so let me talk about Luna, because again, this was from a question from Alice. All right, so nice chart, all right? Nothing wrong with that chart. Consolidation is what you're in right now, okay? And I think his question was, what do we think of the price action? You know, is this thing going to basically consolidate before breaking higher? You're right in the middle of this consolidation. So just like in some of those other charts that I showed, this area for a swing trade is not a great area. Now, it could work out. Again, it's 50-50. It's like flipping a coin, right? Like literally. So you have to look at the risk. I prefer, in these situations, I'm more conservative. I prefer the range low if it can deliver that opportunity. That's at $15.93, that area right there, okay? If you can get that, that would be basically like a double bottom, failed low type of situation. That's where I'd be most interested in something like this. But again, with this trend structure in place, I mean, look, very quickly, I can count Elliott waves on this, right? We have wave 1. This is initial push, wave 1. This consolidation is wave 2, right? You have this wave 3, which is never the smallest wave. This consolidation is clearly a wave 4. It's not overlapping wave 1, the top of wave 1, which is over here, right? So wave 5 is likely to follow. So that at least Elliott wave says there's at least one more leg higher possible, which should take out this high, okay, at $22. So that's what you're looking at to kind of give you a roadmap when you see a nice clean cut wave structure like that. All right, anyway, Luna, thank you, DJ, for bringing it up. DJ is my personal fact checker, by the way, when I start sharing fake news. Okay, so let me go back to my other chat here real quick. So I answered XLM, XRP, I got those. Hold on, what I missed something here. So XSP, okay, DGB, let's go to DGB. DGB, and that's from Segor again, DGB USDT. Is that, okay, so here's DGB. Same situation. I mean, look, if you notice, a lot of these charts are looking similar, all right, which means they're all following each other. They're all relative to each other. Now, here's an interesting thing about this chart. Breakout, right? But here's what you need to, if you get into one of these breakouts, and I keep telling you to avoid, if you get into a breakout, all right, and then this is the candle you see next, right here, that is not what you want to see after you buy into your breakout. That is definitely not what you want to see, because that can turn into a sell signal. It's not a pin bar, but it's almost a pin bar, okay? You take out that low at 8 cents, 8.5 cents, that would be a sell signal and a likely failed breakout. So definitely bad location for new longs. I'd be looking for supports, and I'll give you a price, if I can get a horizontal line here, right there, which would be 8 cents, 0803, so the low 8 cent area, okay? Because right now you're fooling around in the high, you're at 0893, so you're in the high 8 cent area. So that would be one area to consider if it could find stability there. But that's not, you know, it may break that. That's not a very heavy duty support, right? So you might want to look in this area right here where there was a lot of price action. If you look back and you look at these tails, right, on these candles, it's around the mid 6 cent area, 7 cent area, okay? Look at these areas, 7.5. That area right there that I highlighted with this box, that would be another area to be looking for support if it can test it. That's what I'd like to see if I was going to get involved. You know, mid-range after the attempted breakout, that's where your probability is probably more favorable relative to where you are right now. But again, broader structure is bullish. When will I change my idea on these broader structures is when these lows are taken out. Because something that's strong should not take out those lows. 4.5 cents for almost 5 cents, this area. If that area is taken out, I would stay away from these things, okay? Because that means the trend is changing. Not necessarily a bear market, but it could go into a broad consolidation. And you don't want to get caught in that. At least you want to have some evidence that you are in the consolidation before doing anything. Okay, so cool. Thank you for asking. That's DGB. Let me see. So XLM, yeah. So I went over stellar lumens. you're gonna have to wait until I finish this video and watch it over again because I talked about it in the beginning. Okay, so ANKR. I believe this is the one. I think I know this one. ANKR USDT. And also, I went over ONE. I went over that one. So I'm not going to repeat that one. You can watch the video again. So ANKR, this one, which is on Binance. Nice broad structure. I mean, look, clear Elliott waves, right? This is a nice impulse wave. Wave 2 is over here. You're in wave 4 right now. I mean, those are consolidations. So it's within reason to expect another leg higher. But at this moment, it's stuck. So how much is this thing? Okay, it's 15 cents. So you're looking at a range low at like around that 14.75 area. You can wait for a test of that. But again, this thing is a cheap coin. So, you know, you want to buy some, you control your risk here with sizing really, right? You don't get too big. If it pulls back, you buy a little bit more. But that's how you have to treat this. Charts are going to be a little less reliable. But here's what I have to say, at least with the Elliott wave structure, one more leg higher is within reason, right? 21 cents. So a break above 21 cents, maybe into those mid-20s, is within reason based on what the chart says now, all right? Because you're in a wave 4. As long as wave 4 doesn't overlap wave 1. If these supports start getting taken out, you start taking out like the 7.5 cent area, I would then hold off on these things. I certainly wouldn't keep putting on more, okay? But of course, in those scenarios, probably you're going to be seeing a dramatic move out of Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin starts breaking 50K, breaking 48K, breaking 45K, you're probably going to see a lot of these coins doing a similar thing, breaking major supports. That's going to be the sign to step aside, okay? And not keep putting on more and more. So thanks for asking about that one. Okay, so Mr. Blue, hello again. It's the honest guy. Hey, honest guy. There was another missed question. A penny for your thoughts on the upcoming Coinbase listing. Thank you. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what you mean about the coin. Oh, are you talking about Coinbase the stock? I think he's talking about Coinbase the stock being listed. Well, look, Coinbase obviously is one of the most well-known, most stable, most honest exchanges out there, as we know, right? They've been around the longest. And they were pretty conservative with the amount of coins they put on there, all that kind of stuff. So there's going to be a lot of anticipation. When those things IPO, something like Coinbase, you have to understand that there's going to be a lot of interest in it, and it's going to probably IPO at some ridiculous price, okay? Also, you have to keep something else in mind. When something like that IPOs, there are investors out there that get favored, okay? Maybe let's say you're a really large investor, okay? And you're a VIP customer of a particular broker, and this IPO is coming out. The broker will let the customer get that IPO at a much better price than the public market price. So of course they can dump it on you when it IPOs, right? So that's why when something like that IPOs, the best thing to do, and we've seen this so many times with a lot of these hyped stocks, when they come out at some ridiculous price, and then over the next month they give it back, and then you could get it at a better price. So my point is this: if Coinbase comes out, let it trade on its own, let it find its own price. Don't jump into it right away. Usually if you wait a couple of weeks, you can get a better price. And you know what? If it's higher than the IPO price in a couple of weeks, and you really want to get into some, is it a bad company? Well, no, at least look, they're going to be public. You're going to be able to see all of their financial information. You want to own some shares for the long run. I mean, you know, I don't think Coinbase is going out of business anytime soon. I would consider it a quality company. Okay, so just that's just some insight, you know, to consider. I mean, would I buy some Coinbase? Maybe, but I want to see. I don't jump in on IPOs. So like I said, I would wait. I'd wait a few weeks to see if I can get a better price. And at some point, when the whole market pulls back, you'll be able to get a better price. I mean, look at Tesla, right? Tesla, amazing stock. How many opportunities recently have we had where you could have gotten that stock in the 500s, right? You could have easily gotten some stock around the mid to low 500s or whatever. These things pull back. All right, anyway. Okay, so that's my rant on that. Okay, hold on. Ravesen, thank you for the analysis. What about ITO USDT. Okay, let's take a look. ITO USDT. I don't have anything for that. ITO, is that the right one? ITO. Let's see here. USD. I'm not getting that. Maybe you mean IOTA. Maybe you mean IT. No, that wouldn't be it. I'm not sure what you mean by ITO, because I'm not getting that. ITO USDT. ITO USDT. Yeah, I'm not getting a symbol for that. Not sure. I'm not sure if you get the right symbol. Okay, let me jump over to the other chat here. Okay, Irina. Sorry, got my eyes on Band and Uni. Okay, let's take a look at Band. BAND USD. Oh, all right, so here we go. Again, very similar to a lot of these coins, right? Similar. Obviously, there's a run going on, obviously, right? We keep seeing the same thing over and over again. We're at resistance levels. Bad place to be buying, good place to be reducing risk and unloading to people who are buying. So I wouldn't buy this here. I would be looking to reduce risk, all right? If you want to buy into it at some point, you wait for the supports, and your first support would be around there, which is around 15.5 cents. The next support, look at this nice range low support. Look at this. Band is a really nice example of the kind of trade that I like. Forget this move now, right? You see this right here. See when it looks like this? Look at this. I'm going to make it nice and big so you can see. You see that? That looks like garbage, doesn't it? And a lot of people that have less experience, oh, there's double top in this thing. It's bearish. It's going to go to zero, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, you're selling this thing into a support, right? And then eventually it does that. This is what I like to see, right? That's a conservative and ideal opportunity. We don't always get those. But my point is, that's what I'd want to see out of Band, and I'd want to see it, maybe at a different level, but I wouldn't touch it at this level, okay? I would be looking to get out of some. Now, on the same note, if momentum continues, right, I wouldn't be surprised to see the higher high if this thing doesn't fail at this resistance area. I don't like the current tail in place, but the candle's not closed yet. So you have to see how that thing plays out. One thing you don't want to make the mistake of doing is prejudging these things before they close. It's a very common mistake. Okay, Uni. We called Uni. I sent this one out as a swing trade a while back. I think this didn't get stopped out. I know Link got stopped out. Let me see. What's the low on Uni here? 25. Our stop loss was 19.50. I don't think this thing ever actually stopped out. And our third target was 43. It never went to 43. But it went to 36.83. So it went to two targets, right? And now it's just been consolidating. So as far as Uni goes, Uniswap, this is a consolidation. I wouldn't be buying it now because this is a lousy price, lousy area, okay, middle of the range. And theoretically, it's, with what we saw with some of these other coins pushing their highs, why isn't this one pushing its highs, right? This thing should be up here. Why is it not? So that's a red flag for me. I don't like that, all right? So I would be, look, the swing trade, there's nothing to do here but let this thing do its job, right? There's no sell signal in place. I just wouldn't put any new risk on here. And if it retested the low, that 25 low area, that wouldn't be a bad place to be looking for a new swing trade. That's how I would treat Uni. But I don't like this long, elongated consolidation, and I just don't like the current price. Nothing wrong with consolidations. You just want to buy the better prices and not the range highs, because there's a lot of fake outs in consolidating markets. And wait until Bitcoin gets into one, which it hasn't done yet. Okay, cool. So let me see how I'm doing with time. I'm going to have to cut this off now because I'm talking too much. Okay, I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. Let me see how many more I can answer in a couple minutes. Okay, so I'm going to go real fast here. Again, if I missed your question, I apologize. Please just ask again. I stream. I stream, I try to stream multiple times a week. I try to do it one time a week on TradingView. So if I miss your question on TradingView, I apologize, but just come back to my next stream. Okay, so let me see what I have there. Oh man, I got just so many. Okay, so I'm gonna do one from TradingView and I'm gonna do one from the other one. Okay, so let me go TradingView first. Let me just read through these real quick. Let me just read through these. Okay. Oh, best wishes. Thank you. Oh, Byte Federal. Hey, guys. Good to see you again. Cool, cool. Nice to see you guys. All right, Elliott Wave, XLM. Man, a lot of questions about XLM today. People should probably be getting out of it. Okay, let's see. Do you think XRP? So we talked about XRP. definitely rewind the video. When I stop streaming, you should be able to go back to the beginning of the video. The first coin I talked about was XRP. Okay, hot USDT, please. Okay, hot. Let's take a look at hot. I went over Litecoin too, Elo. I went over Litecoin. So just go back. When I stop the video on TradingView, you can go back. Okay. So hot USDT. Oh man. All right. So again, here we go. Herd mentality. Can't buy that. Can't touch that. Wouldn't go near it. What price is this thing right now? 0.29. Okay, so it's just about 3 cents, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of hype going on. That's why you're seeing this thing. Strong, no problem. Okay, great. But all I'd be looking for here is support levels. You have a support level right there, which is what? $15. It's one over. It's a half a cent, right? 1 cent, 1.05. So it's 0.15. It's basically 1 cent and a half is what I meant to say. After talking for almost 2 hours, I can't even talk anymore. All right, so that's a support right there. I'd be looking for that if you're interested in the swing trade, or maybe something around here with this little red candle situation, which didn't follow through, right? That was a potential sell signal, which didn't follow through. That means there's some activity there, some unusual activity. You're looking at around 2.25 cents, right around there. Now again, in these situations, as I pointed out with a few other coins, when they go vertical like this, they usually consolidate for a little while. So don't be surprised to see this thing have like a decent pullback and then do nothing for a few weeks. That's what a lot of them do. Now, so if you don't have any, this is not a great price to buy. Also, it's a really cheap one, right? It's 15 cents, or not even. It's like 2 cents, 3 cents. These are not the greatest candidates for swing trades. So again, I would think more position type trade, and I would throw in small, $100, see where it goes, because a chart is not going to be as reliable in these situations, right? Because a lot of this is just froth and hype. And when it comes out of the sector, when the whole sector feels the pain, these coins, they're going to look like XRP, the way it looked for months and months and months. They're just going to look like garbage, right? And when they do, you want to find the lowest points of that garbage, and then that's where you really want to pick up some if you really believe in the project. Okay, so BTT, I went over it. Matic. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Matic, and then I'm going to do, because Matic, that's an interesting one. It's been brought up a few times, and it's also a great example of a consolidation. So I'm going to do Matic Network, and then I'm going to jump over to my other chat here and cover something in there, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Okay. So, and again, I appreciate everyone's questions and everyone's feedback. All right, so bullish trend, right? As with all of them, consolidation right now, and this is like we just looked at that one that you just brought up, hot, right? This is what something like hot can do over the next few weeks after it makes its dramatic high. So you're in the middle of the range right now. Bad place to be buying, okay, for a swing trade. It's a 50-50 area. So again, I'd be looking for the range low at 34 cents. Okay, that's one possibility. Or if you want to try to play that range breakout and you want to try to buy it in the middle of the range, smaller size, right? And if it tests the low of the range, you put on that second portion that you were going to put on anyway, and hope that the trend continues at that point. Now, if Bitcoin starts giving it back, like I said, you see Bitcoin pushing below 48K, a lot of these coins are probably going to feel similar pain. That's what I'm expecting if Bitcoin leads to that type of scenario. I'm not saying I'm bearish. I'm just saying that if I see it, I'm going to be very quick to step aside. All right, on a lot of these. So thanks for asking about that. All right, so let me just see here. All right, so I'm going to answer one more, and let's see. Chainlink. I think I'm going to do Chainlink, Mike. And let me just see. What is that? Any man, do you think that? Come on, don't put spam comments in the chat. This is for people who are trying to learn. Really, this little man Chirac, whatever. Come on, seriously. I'm gonna get rid of that comment. Can I get rid of that? Like, don't ruin it for everyone else. I mean, people are trying to, like, learn here, and then you always have to have someone that you always get these people. But anyway, okay, hold on. Let me get rid of this guy. All right, cool. So let me go back to where was I here? I was going to do Chainlink. All right, so let's see, Chainlink. Yeah, let me just go back. Man, there's so many questions. I'm sorry I can't answer them all. All right, and some of these have been here for a while too. All right, so let's do Chainlink, Link USDT. And here, let me get the chart so you can see it. Now, so Chainlink, this one we got stopped out on this, by the way, okay? Called Chainlink as a swing trade. It went into its target zone, right? We managed to get out at target one, and then it just produced garbage, right? Like some of these, and we had to stop, whatever, at 25.5, and it then got tapped out, or whatever, okay? And now look where it is, back at the range high. It happens. Now, here's the thing. So if you're in Chainlink, hey, let this thing do its job now. Thanks, Irina. If you're in Chainlink, there's nothing to do here, right? You have a higher low, looks similar to Bitcoin. I'd be anticipating the breakout. And these targets that you could see on my chart here, 34 and 40, those are still in play if you're still in this thing, right? I would still be expecting those if this trend stays intact. Buying it now, though, it would be a bad idea. So, I mean, what's the price on this thing? This thing's at 31.66, right? So you're taking too much risk at this point if you're putting on the risk now. So, yeah, nothing to do here. Let this thing just do its job. If another sell signal develops off this resistance, then you could make another adjustment at that point and reduce risk. Other than that, the attractive place to be buying is in that $25 area where we got stopped out. All right, so hey, they don't always work out. These things are highly random. So thank you for bringing that one up, Mike. All right, so with that being said, okay, let me see. I think he is right. I'm not sure. I don't know what you're talking about there. Are you spamming me too? Okay, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. All right, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, I got to wrap this up because I've been talking for too long. Right, it's almost an hour and a half, and my voice is running out. So again, I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all in TradingView, and I want to thank you all in my other chat for all your great questions and your great participation. I really hope that you got some insight out of this and some useful levels at least, and some reasonable expectation, okay? Because that's really the goal of this. Let me know if you have any feedback. Like we had this guy in here telling me that I'm a better, I guess, a better presenter than I am a writer. Hey, cool. Let me know, okay? But don't be calling me names like this other guy was just doing. That's just, come on, that's just wrong. All right, anyway, constructive feedback, nothing wrong with it. Anyway, so thank you all for your great questions, your great participation, and I will see you next time on TradingView. Again, I'm trying to stream on Mondays once a week, okay? So check me out then. Also, make sure you read my analysis that I write on Sundays, although I obviously don't write as well as I speak. I'm gonna bring that up now 100 times because I usually do things like that. Anyway, all right, cool, everyone. So thank you all. Enjoy the rest of the day, wherever you are in the world, and thank you so much for watching.